The recommendations are official. Mammograms should begin at 40, reversing the long-standing guidance to wait until 50. So to learn more about these recommendations, I'm joined by a spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, Dr. Anish Meerasahib, joining me now. Thank you so much. So first, explain whether or not you agree with these new recommendations.
Oh, I completely agree. And
Okay.
these were out there for the last many years by multiple other societies. And I'm just so glad that the United States Task Force now are aligning with other societies. The other societies, including the American Cancer Society and the American Society of Radiology, has always proposed that mammograms should be considered from the age of 40 years onwards.
Well, I think that's where the confusion comes from, right? Because
Right.
people hear start your mammograms at 40 and everybody goes, I thought we were already starting at 40. You know, I mean,
Correct.
what's so new about this?
So we were all considering starting at 40, but the United States Task Force a few years ago has made the age suggestion at 50. That was many years ago, but now with the new data, they also retracted that, and they are starting at 40. So 40 has always been, you know, I've been in practice for more than 15 years, and I always thought 40 was the time to start mammograms.
Right.
So for anyone who's got average risk, we always recommended 40. It's just now that come to the fact that there is new data which shows from 40 to 50 years of age, women are at just such a high risk of breast cancer. 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer in all comers, but 1 in 6 are in the age of 40 to 50. And if we start mammogram at the age of 40, the new data shows we can save 8,000 patients from dying in a year.
Wow.
That's almost like preventing a war.
Wow. And so the new data is showing that specifically in that 10-year time frame,
Correct.
women have a pretty big risk.
Very high risk. As you know, they always had risk, but we show that segment of women from 40 to 50, 1 in 6 can get breast cancer.
And is it true that when you're in that younger demographic that your cancers are worse or more aggressive?
Yes. So in that age group, the cancers happens to be coming very fast, very aggressive, and unfortunately, some of them are not curable. That's where we come in this data showing that 8,000 women in that age group can die every year if they miss a mammogram.
So why is it important for women to begin screening at 40 now? You know, what if women, you know, you still feel young and maybe you don't feel anything? Why would you still recommend that they start now?
Yeah, you know, we'll be surprised, you know, how many women we see in our oncology clinics on a daily fashion in their mid-40s, early 40s with breast cancer. And unfortunately, most of these cancers are aggressive. So by the time they get to see us, it's already stage 2 or 3 in the lymph nodes. And those are the women that we could have prevented giving chemotherapy or mastectomy or radiation. We could have just done a small surgery and cured them 2 years ago if they had a mammogram.
Yeah. So will insurance cover it at 40?
Insurance always covered it.
It always has?
It always covered it.
So this new recommendation doesn't change too much other than like everybody's in agreement that it should start at 40? Correct.
Now it's aligning every society together saying that we should consider starting at 40. And again, this is for average risk women. But
Which means what?
Average risk women are women without any strong family history, without any genetic mutations, without any prior radiation or a high risk breast issues. So that means in some women have very dense breast tissue.
Yep.
And in that way, mammogram alone might not pick up the lesions, and we need to supplement that by an extra ultrasound. So basically, if you have family history or prior history of radiation, then those women need to start much earlier, about 10 years before their family diagnosis. So for example, if the mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 45, I always say we should actually think for the daughter to start mammograms at 35, 10 years before the index case. So we can prevent an early stage cancer to get into a progression or metastatic cancer.
Yeah, so this still lands in the hands of the patient, knowing their family history and knowing that, you know, 40 is for average people, but your age might change for when you should get a mammogram.
Correct.
And what about self-screening? Is that still recommended?
Yeah, self-screening, but the issue with self-screening is, you know, self-screening is not the best way to diagnose cancer. You know, again, if self-screening, it's always good to have self-screening every month. You pick a date, especially, and you have to be consistent. And, you know, life comes in play, and we are all busy. We miss that. So self-screening usually do not pick up a lot of breast cancer unless the cancer is pretty big.
Yeah.
But then you miss that window of
Yeah.
early stage disease.
Yeah. Dr. Meerasahib, we appreciate you coming in. Is there anything that you'd like to let people know with these new recommendations? Anything that you really want to, a point you really want to drive home?
Yes, of course. I really encourage all of you guys to talk to your mom, your daughter, your sisters, or your girlfriends or fiancés to have mammograms because the amount of lives we save with mammograms are immense, and 90% of the breast cancer is completely curable, and that's 90% of people had a screening mammogram.
Well, thank you for all of those tips. We appreciate you coming in all the way from Texas Oncology in Clear Lake. Thank you for making the trip
Thank
into
you
our
very
studio.
much for having us.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.